Hi there guys, got a video here today on the Daystate Alphawolf, and in this one what I'm going to be doing is fitting a carbon fibre sleeve through the block and over the barrel. So this is a modification that I did on the sub 12 air gunners version of the BRK Ghost, and it does hide the barrel quite nicely. So if we take a quick look at the barrel on this particular rifle, you can see at both the front and the back you can see that the bluing has been worn off the barrel, and it does make the rifle look a little scruffy. So what we're going to be doing is hiding that using a carbon fibre tube. So this carbon fibre tube here is 15mm OD, 14mm ID, so that's a wall thickness of 0.5mm. It will take a little bit of fussing to get it situated in the block nicely, but it's not a bad job and it shouldn't take too long. Right then, before the work gets started, there are a couple of things we need to do. So first thing we need to do is make the rifle safe by first cocking the rifle, removing the magazine or single shot loader if one has been fitted. Then I'm going to be firing the rifle into a nice safe backstop. That just ensures that there's not a pellet loaded into the barrel and that we should be safe to continue. The next thing I'm going to do is degas the rifle by first removing the bottle. Then what I need to do is dry fire the rifle until there's no more air inside the plenum, and as you can see on the back here we do have a regulator pressure gauge. With that reading 0, the next thing I did was just remove the battery from the rear of the rifle, nice and simply. And with that done, the next thing I need to do is start removing some accessories. So to make the rifle a little easier to work on, I'm going to be removing the scope rail, the cheek piece, the front block, as well as pulling the barrel out from the middle of the block. Removing the front block is nice and simple, although you do need to remember that there is a small wire underneath the unit, so as you take that off you will need to disconnect an electronic connection. So there we have it, that's just that small connection there. Right then, with the rifle disassembled, we can now start getting the carbon fibre tube fitted. So the first thing I've gone ahead and done off camera is just cut the carbon fibre tube down. When I first bought it, it was around 500mm long, so I just cut it in half, used one half on the BRK Ghost, and the other half's going to be fitted to the Alphawolf. As you can see there, it is a little longer than it needs to be, although that will make it a little easier to put it in and out of the block. So for now we're going to be leaving it about 25cm long, and at a later date I'll cut it down. The next job we have to do is fit the carbon fibre tube to the barrel. Now at the moment the carbon fibre tube is a fairly snug fit over the barrel. It will go on if I force it to, but we do want the barrel to be removable, so we're going to be sanding the inside of the carbon fibre tube out slightly, just opening it out and making it a little easier to put the barrel through. To do that, what I have here is just a metal rod with a slot cut in one end. What we can do then is use some coarse sandpaper. This stuff here is 240 grit. What I'm going to do is roll that round just like that. Then I can use an electric drill, put the sandpaper through the tube and just spin it up. And that should allow us to sand out the inside of the carbon fibre tube. So there we have it, the old DeWalt there with the sandpaper on the end. Right then, and after about 6 minutes of sanding, I think I've got the fit I was looking for. So there is a small amount of resistance as the barrel goes through the carbon fibre, but it's not tight in any way. You can see that the carbon fibre and barrel spin nice and independently, and it's not really difficult to remove the barrel from the tube. The only other thing I'll mention I did on off camera was I squirted some isopropyl alcohol through the tube, then just pushed a paper towel through it just to remove the excess dust. But with that all done, we've fit the carbon fibre to the barrel. The next thing we need to do is fit the tube to the block of the rifle. Now the tightness of the carbon fibre in the block does vary between rifles. To get it to fit on the BRK Ghost, I did have to do a fair amount of fettling to get it to slide through nicely. However, on the Delta Wolf, the carbon fibre does slide through fairly easily with no modifications needed. I am still going to clean up the inside of the block a little bit with just some sandpaper super glued onto the end of a metal rod. What I'm going to do is remove the lumps and bumps that are present within the block. So I don't know how well the camera is going to pick that up, but if you look in the centre of the block there, you can see a few burrs and the finish is a little rough. I'm just going to smooth out the high points. And the other thing I'll mention is that I have removed the barrel support O-ring that was present just in the block. So hopefully you can see the O-ring groove there. That O-ring was just in that O-ring groove. To get that out, I just used a metal pick. Right then, after about 3 or 4 minutes work, I think we've got the carbon fibre tube fitting quite nicely through the block. We took literally no material out, we just basically sanded down the extreme high points, just getting rid of all the lumps and bumps. And I did also go through the block with just a set of Q-tips, wiping out the excess dust, and then I gave everything a blowout with the inline blower. If we take our carbon fibre tube, I did make a little mark noting the top, then we can push that through the block. You can see it goes through quite nicely. There's a small amount of resistance there, but nothing to worry about. If we take a look at the back here, you can see that the carbon fibre tube doesn't go all the way to the back at the moment. We will fix that very shortly, but for now it's stopping just about there. What I'm going to do now is remove the carbon fibre once again, then take my calipers and mark a line about 3mm from the face of the end of the carbon fibre. So just go round, scribe a little line, then I'm going to take a file and just file that last little bit off the end there so it fits within the back of the block. Right then, and that's probably the most time consuming part of the whole project. But as you can see there, after about 15 minutes or so of work, the carbon fibre tube is all the way through the block and it finishes nicely against the back here. The last thing we need to do is cut the excess carbon fibre off and then get everything mounted. So to do that, I'm just going to be taking a measurement using my calipers. So on this one, I'm going to be taking about 23mm of material off. Before I cut the video though, I'll just get you a quick look at what that end looks like. I'll just get you a quick look at the end of that so you can see what I've done. I've just taken a small amount of material off the very edge of the carbon fibre tube so it fits nicely back in the block. The other thing I'll mention is don't worry if you get any scratches in the carbon fibre tube. You can get them out with just a piece of red Scotch-Brite. What you'll do is just rub them down very gently and you'll rub the scratches out of the lacquer. But for now, I'll cut the end off the carbon fibre tube, give it a good clean up so it's nice and presentable, then we'll get it mounted in the block. Right then, and there we have it. There's the carbon fibre cut to length. We should be able to install that through the block now and have it stay in position. Now on this particular rifle, I'm not going to be gluing the carbon fibre in. I've found that when the barrel support, or the front barrel support's installed, the carbon fibre doesn't tend to move. So we can just push that through the block, then get the barrel support installed, making sure to connect the wires up before that gets pushed together. And with that done, we should now be able to get the barrel installed. The only thing I've gone ahead and done here is just put some Ballisto on the outside of the barrel just to stop it from going rusty if it ever would. We've used a little bit of isopropyl in the carbon fibre tube, and I just don't want that to affect the outside of the barrel. But with that said, we can slide everything in, making sure to align the pogo pegs in the back of the shroud with the front of the barrel support, then get everything lined up at the back. So if we take a look through there, the dimple is in alignment. We should be able to just tighten the barrel in place. Right then, and there we have the rifle fully rebuilt and gassed back up once again. I think the carbon fibre tube running through the block looks much nicer than the bare barrel. It hides the worn bluing nicely and tidies the rifle up quite significantly. All said and done, if I wasn't filming this for a video, this little modification here would have probably taken me between 15 minutes and half an hour. Really not a complicated job at all, and I'm pretty sure if you can watch this video and you have a few basic tools at your disposal, you could probably do this job fairly easily. With that said, I'm not encouraging you to do it, I'm just showing you how I did it. With that said, the only thing I'll mention is that if you end up doing the modification, just be careful how tight you do the front barrel support up when you've got the rifle rebuilt. What would happen before with a standard rifle is that as you did the front barrel support up, the O-ring would squish and then eventually the barrel would touch with the block. Or in other words, the barrel would become clamped against the block, strengthening the barrel and providing a good amount of rigidity. With the carbon fibre tube at the front of the barrel here, it can no longer be compressed, so if you do this front barrel support up too tight, what will happen is the front of the barrel will actually kink up. But with that said, a minor benefit to fitting the carbon fibre tube is that I did notice that the rifle was very slightly more accurate. It could be a total coincidence, different pellets or something like that, but with the carbon fibre tube support, the rifle seemed marginally more accurate. With that all said and done though, that's pretty much going to do it for this particular video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been interesting or useful, and I'll see you in the next one.